Okay, so we've come to more or less the end of this little restoration of this Daimler bus. As you can see, there's a really good coat of paint on there now. That one I'm really about, and that was just from a spray can. And again, I'll show you. That's the make of the spray can, and it was Volkswagen Pastel White acrylic spray can. Brilliant, excellent. I'm really happy with that. So what we're going to do now, let me just remind you, I did actually put the wheels back on. I forgot to film it, and all I did was using this little punch, the mushroom side of the axle there, little hole in the top there, so that rests nicely in there. And with my ballpoint hammer, all I did was literally just tap on the other end of the axle where I originally ground off the flange. Just tap the end of that with a ballpoint hammer quite a few times, probably about 30 to 40 times. And what you'll actually do is flatten off the end of that and produce another flange. That's what they used to do originally in the factory. And that tyre will not come off now. So it's back to its original manufacturing, well, what they used to do in the factory. That's all I did before. So that's the base of it. So all I've got to do now really is put these transfers onto the remainder of the bus. So I've got some lukewarm water there. I find that's probably best for transfers. I've got one of these ophthalmic swabs which soak off the excess water, and a paintbrush here, a nice soft clean paintbrush. And the idea is to apply decals, water slide transfers, tiny bit of water on the actual model itself. That way it allows the transfer to position. You don't want it sticking straight away, just in case you don't get it squared properly. So a little bit of water just dabbed, and it clearly shows the little area where the transfer needs to go. I've cut them off, made them a little bit thinner so they're easier to go. So that should ideally go really well. So these don't take actually that long to separate from the water. So all I do is literally leave them in there for about 30 seconds. And then, I did forget, I need a pair of forceps for this. So I'll just a pair of small tweezers. Again, I managed to salvage these. They were single use only for an operating theatre. Used to buy them one use only. These were unwrapped by mistake or went out of date, one or the other, and ideal for my modelling. So that should be enough, hopefully. So if I just pop that on the side, what I'll do is I'll just, with my finger and thumb, just gently see if it moves. Well, I don't want to crease it, so what I'm going to do now is just pause it. I'm going to slide the transfer onto the bus, wipe away the excess water, just damp it down gently because you don't want to tear the transfer, and see what happens from there. Now what I'm going to do is just pause this, and next time you'll see it, it should be on the bus. So if you just bear with me. Okay, so as you can see, that transfer went on really nicely. It is literally just fitting. I mean, there's not any space for any excess overlay really. That I mean, yeah, it is probably just a millimetre or so just too wide, but it does fit. I'm more than pleased with that. It's a case of sliding the paper, the transfer, as you place the end of the transfer onto the model, and just gently pull away the paper from underneath, discard that. And what I did then was just use the tip of my paintbrush, slightly moist, just dab it down so it was in position, and I was gently holding it one end with the paintbrush with this little ophthalmic sponge. I just squeegeed out gently because these do tear very, very easily. This is ultra soft, by the way, because it's for people's eyes. The excess water from underneath. And I'll just leave it for a few minutes now, and that should be one side done. Obviously I'm going to repeat the entire process for the other side, and then what we'll do is very, very quickly we'll get to reassembling a model, which is quite easy. Okay, so as you can see, I know it's upside down, both transfers on, went on beautifully. Just to reiterate, very gentle process. Remind yourself to just a soft, damp paintbrush just to hold one end. And as you slide the paper from underneath, just be careful not to wrinkle these transfers. I mean, they do buckle up underneath. If you leave them to soak too long in the water, also what will happen is it will actually lift off the paper, and then you have all sorts of hell trying to separate it. Because what it can do is wrap around on itself, and if it sticks to itself inside out, then yeah, good luck with trying to peel that apart. Because like I said, they are less than tissue thin. So yeah, many years of applying decals, 40 odd years, I've got it down to a fine art, but even now and again I do stuff it up. So you do need I mean, if you're obviously not going to be fortunate to be able to obtain these. They call them arrows. They use them in ophthalmic theatres. They're for dabbing away excess moisture from the cornea during various ophthalmic procedures. Again, I got hold of these purely because they went out of date. Packs get opened by mistake, they get dropped. So yeah, they're brilliant for what I do. I've got hundreds of them, but yeah, unless you're a theatre nurse or working ophthalmics, then chances of you being able to get some, who knows? Look on the local websites. You might find them on eBay. I don't know. So this is it really. So the base is ready to go back on. So what I'm going to do is slot the tab under the front of the bus, and then I'm just going to use on that tiny little rivet there a dab of super glue. Now I don't use any ordinary super glue. This stuff, this gel, give it a good shake. It is absolutely fantastic stuff. I've never had it fail on me yet. It is amazing stuff. So all I'm going to do is dab a very tiny bit of that super glue gel. Don't use the liquid because the liquid will just run and pool and get in underneath all the cracks and crevices. This gel will stay on top where you put it, and it will spread out a little bit around the post head here, and it should obviously again stick around the top of the model. If you ever need to separate again, literally a bit of acetone, you're going to melt the paint, but if it needs doing again, it doesn't matter. We'll actually dissolve the glue. So there's no need for threading and putting a 2M screw in it or anything like that. All I literally can be on display. It's not going to be played with. A bit of dab of super glue and Bob's your uncle. So I'm just going to get on with that now because obviously I need both hands, and I still haven't got around to getting a camera pod stand thingy. So when you see this model again, hopefully it should be reassembled. Okay, so yep, there it is. So I won't touch the transfers because they're still drying. As you can clearly see, there it is. There's probably just a tiny little bit of glue just leaked out from around the sides, but that's quite easy. All you need to do is get the spray can, just spray a little bit into the cap of the spray, and you can just touch around that with a tiny little bit of spray. But that went together really easily. There was still a tiny little bit of flange left on that post, and it did click together nicely, so that is never going to come apart.